friends, my name's Shaun Evening, and I am a developer experience engineer at Chromatic. And for the last few months, my focus has been on Storybook integrations, which is what I'm here to talk to you about today. So let's start off by talking about the state of the Storybook ecosystem. Specifically, let's talk about how you can integrate Storybook into your favorite tools, and how you can integrate your favorite tools into Storybook. I've got some examples here of tools that integrate directly into Storybook. The first category being design tools. In Figma, you can link interactive stories right into your designs. So you can play around with them as if they were right in Storybook. And on the other hand, we've got Zeplin that lets you link designs to stories in Storybook. While Anima turns your entire Storybook into a native Figma library automatically. But that's it for the design tools section. How about some documentation tools for the design system enthusiasts around? We've got tools like Zero Height, Supernova, and Frettify, all of which let you embed stories right into your documentation for your design system. Pretty cool. But let's look at some code side of things now. We've got some frameworks here that make use of Storybook. NX lets you manage your Storybook across the entire NX project, while Redwood.js automatically generates Storybook files with each component that you generate. So you get to start writing stories right out of the gate. But that's not all. These are some tools that work with Storybook here, but we also have an entire library we're calling the integration catalog on our website, which is pretty cool. It's home to over 500 community add-ons that add more features or integrations with tools to Storybook. And it has combined 44.5 million weekly downloads on NPM, which is pretty wild watching it grow. And there are add-ons for a ton of different things. Let me give you some examples. Maybe you want to link your designs, like we already talked about with Zeplin. Or you could share your design tokens. You could mock API requests. Maybe if you're feeling like it, you could link Jira tickets to your stories. Maybe you want to scan your stories for accessibility infractions. Maybe you want to force pseudo-states on some of your elements. Or maybe you just want to edit your theme. You can do all of those things with add-ons in the community. Now, if we think about our add-ons as code solutions, towards the end of the year, we made a new kind of integration that we started sharing in the catalog. Recipes. You can think of those as your step-by-step tutorials. Let's take a look at an example here. Here is the integration recipe for emotion and bringing that into Storybook. This particular recipe goes over how you can set up your global styles, use emotion components, and how to add and switch between themes in Storybook so you can see what your stories look like in light and dark mode, or maybe even your custom themes. But that's not all. Similar to emotion, we have recipes for styled components, Vuetify, Material UI, Tailwind CSS. But if you're wanting to perhaps support multiple languages for your stories, we also have a recipe for how to set that up with INT Next. So why did we do it? Why recipes? What's in it for you? Well, they're searchable in the Storybook docs. So if you type in the name of that package you want to get set up in Storybook, if we have a recipe for it, it's going to show up right in the list of search results for our documentation. On top of that, we also have example repos that you can dig through to find out how it was all set up if you want. And on top of all of that, we have dedicated maintenance from our team. So that should always be up to date for you. No more looking back at old blog posts from us or someone else in the community on how to set up your favorite tools that might most likely be out of date. But the most exciting thing about recipes, for me at least, is the fact that recipes have the opportunity to evolve over time. Let me give you an example. Back in 2021, our friend Michael Chan, also known as Chantastic, wrote a blog post for the Storybook, and that was how to set up Next in Storybook. It was a really, really long article with a lot of steps, but it was awesome. A lot of people loved it. In fact, they loved it so much that a few folks in the community went and made an add-on out of it, so then it could be done automatically for everyone. And the crowd went wild. Not only that, we loved it so much that it inspired us to make a fully supported framework out of Next.js for 7.0. You heard my friend Kyle talk about that a little bit earlier. How about another example, something a little bit more new? After writing a bunch of those UI library recipes over the last little while, I distilled all of those learnings into this new add-on styling, which gives you out-of-the-box support for styling and themes for a ton of tools with little to no configuration, depending on what tool you're using. Let's have a quick look at an example here. This is an example storybook that uses Tailwind. And you can see throughout the different stories, we're able to flip between light mode and dark mode that's built into Tailwind. But it doesn't just work with Tailwind. It works with all of those recipes that I mentioned earlier, and a few more. And also, we have documented setups for Bootstrap and PostCSS as well. But it's generic enough of a library that it can work with most, if not all, styling libraries and tools. So check it out. It's available now. Download it. So now we've talked a little bit about the ecosystem, ways that you can integrate Storybook into your tools, ways to integrate your tools into Storybook. And I think it's fair to say that Storybook has become a cornerstone of UI development. We have an ecosystem of hundreds of integrations made by a ton of amazing people in the community that help you tailor Storybook to you and your team's needs. And our goal moving forward is to continue to nurture and support that growing ecosystem.